everybody, how are you all? Hope you're all well. If you just bear with me, because I need to see your comments and I'm not getting them in front of me at the moment. There we are, you're all here. Hello Wendy, hello Francis, hello Sue. Just to confirm that you can see me and you can hear me okay. Hopefully you can. So tonight we're going to be doing something a little bit different, trying to think outside of the box of things that I would search for online. And one of the things that, you know, a little while back I thought, do you know what, colouring beading foundation would be so useful, because it would help not having to have all of that white around the sides. It would also light up a transparent cabochon and really reduce the amount of white space that you see in between beads. So that's what I'm going to be showing you tonight, and remind me to put my apron on because we're going to be using acrylic paints. So now, when I did a live the other day, it was a right pain in the doobies because I didn't get all of your comments. I had to keep refreshing. So yes, you can see me and hear me okay. Thank you so much for my prize winning today. You're very welcome. I just love what you've done with the bee stamp. I think it was wonderful. We all loved that. Hello Meg. You keep freezing and losing sound. And do check in case anybody else is getting it, but what you might want to do, Wendy, is actually come out of any of the other applications that you've got running, and then perhaps come out and go back in again, and that often helps as well. So let's go on the overhead and just have a little look at some of the things that we're doing tonight. Where have I put that? Oh, there it is. It's a wee bit messy because obviously we're going to be painting. So this is what I mean by a transparent cabochon. You can see all the way through it. So these are some coloured foundations. So if you've never done any bead embroidery before, this is what the foundation looks like. It's basically a white stiff piece of backing, and I've coloured it with acrylics. So can you see automatically that has given it some backlight, and you can literally use whatever colour you want. So these are the colours that I've done. I mean, we're not after perfection here, but I wanted to show you as well, this is the cabochon that I've used before. And I think I've just got pale backing on that one, but you can also get hold of these as well. They're classed as foundation, but they feel more like felt, so you can always use things like that as well. I haven't coloured these are pre-coloured, but they're not as stiff as the ones that we invariably use with the beading foundation. So what I propose today is that we see how we go. We might get to do a little bit of beading, I'm not sure. Now the other one that we've got here as well is another transparent one. Let's just lift it up a little bit. Can you see that's a glass cabochon that's got a see-through. The other thing you could use, perhaps clear quartz, something like that, you know, gemstones that have got really, you know, no colour to them. Sorry to keep pausing. I'm still not getting many comments in the thread. I have to keep refreshing. So with that one, I would be inclined to perhaps go with something like the green. So can you see automatically how that just changes? So has anybody got a particular colour that you would actually like me to do for a foundation tonight. All clear, brilliant. Hello, I've already said hello to Sue. Sue says all clear. Carol, hello. Hello, Linda. I did wonder about maybe doing a yellow. So let's talk about materials for this. So obviously, you know, you've got your foundation. You know, you could always cut them into little pieces like I've done as well, because you don't need that much, do you? Now, the Works do super cheap acrylics, and you can get, I think these are all from a box. I know they're in a box, but they're from a display box from the Works, and I think they were at £5. Now, do not use your best clothes. Do not do it on your best table. I've got covering here. You need to make sure you cover your surface as well. So let's just see if anybody's made a suggestion regarding colour. Clear buttons, great idea. So Carol's saying pink. Okay, now that's probably quite a good colour because I don't actually have a pink. All right, so I'll show you how we can water that down a little bit. Is that orange? That's orange, isn't it? So we're going to go for the red, and we are going to go for some white as well. Right, you didn't remind me, did you? Apron needs to go on, peeps, because as you all know, I'm super clumsy. Right, you also, it doesn't really matter what size of brush. I've used a relatively big one because it's going to be bigger. It's going to be a bit easier to cover the surface area. Now again, this is just from my art stuff. Perhaps you've got some yogurt pots you can recycle. You don't need much, okay? Let's pop a bit of that in there, and I'm going to mix it with some white. Now, white's always a good idea to get extras, titanium white, because we use so much. Now, this is a little spray bottle that I've got. Do you know what? I think I bought it from the charity shop, but you can get these from, you know, places like Superdrug. So I'm going to mix that in together. Now, basically, you don't have to have it that thick, but you do want enough to spread it around. You can just tip in a little bit of water if you want to. So let's give that a good stir. Now, if you actually wanted that a paler pink, then you can either add more water, which will just make it thinner, or just add more white. There we go. You could just also use this on some cardboard as well if you want to. There we go. Let's just refresh the feed again. Oh, right. Could you use pro markers? I don't know. I would have thought so. Give it a go. Hello, Paint Brand, where do you get it? Right, I just covered where you get it from, Sharon. From the Works is the cheapest place that I've found to get it. Brand, I don't think it really matters if I'm honest. This is called Boldmere. I think it's the Works own brand. Okay, so there we go. It feels quite nice to do. I've got this is the back of a notepad, just to absorb any of the paint. So there we go. If you don't want it as thick, you can add some water. It is quite amazing how much it actually takes up. And if you want to, I've actually painted the back because I found that this goes through. Now, in terms of drying, I've actually got an old, I say it's an old, I've got a hairdryer for my artwork anyway, and I bought mine from the charity shop because, I mean, you can use your ordinary hairdryer, but it's quite messy business, acrylic paint. It's messy to work with, and you might get acrylic paints on your hairdryer. I mean, it's not a major problem, but to be honest, I just find it easier to have one at hand for my art stuff and things like this. So there you go. We've got a nice pink. Right, so you might need your headphones on. We're going to dry it now. So literally, if it'll come this way on, we're just going to, that's where everything goes. There we go. That's where I'm blowing all my foundation everywhere. Right, so you do that for as long as is needed. I mean, that's drying, but it's not dry enough. You can leave it if you prefer to, but if you need to use it quite swiftly, you might want to do that particular method. Now, what colour should we do another one? What colour should we do next? So we've actually got a water pot as well. This is one that I ordered from the SAA. That's the other place you can order your materials from, is SAA, which is an online art supplier. And this actually folds down, so it's great because I can just pack it in my bag whenever I go to art group. Hello, Jackie. Thank you for joining. So, any more colours, anyone? Now, the problem with acrylic paint is it's not that easy to clean off. Now, you can, I have got reusable tissues for my art, but it's a good idea with acrylic paints just to have a little tea towel, not a tea towel, kitchen towel at hand. So isn't that sweet? You can see it in the top picture there. Right, so any other colours that we can go for, or any other questions that you'd like to know? Oh, we've got more. Yellow. I think that's a good shout. Let's do a yellow. And you know, you can block these all in, do these all at the same time. It's very relaxing. Now I'm going to go for more of an orangey yellow. Where's my other cabochon? Where has it gone? I wanted to pick out some of the colour tones in that. So this is yellow ochre. It does actually use quite a lot of paint as well, but the smaller tubes will be more than enough for doing this. And obviously you can add white to this if you want to. Let's just thin that down a little bit more. So if you do thin it down, obviously you're going to get a paler colour. It's not the best of colours, is it? I'm not going to lie. Let's think of it as a summer evening rather than, yeah, we won't go there, but it's not a pretty colour, is it? It's not a pretty colour. Mustard, that makes it sound so much nicer, doesn't it? Something very relaxing about painting. How are we doing for time? Right. But this could be a real game changer for a lot of people, because it's going to finish off your projects really, really well. And without you going to the expense of having to go and buy and find coloured foundation. And at least by doing both sides as well, you can decide which side you prefer. I don't suppose you really have to if you don't want to waste paint. That's actually quite a nice colour now, isn't it? Mustard. There you go. So it's not a spring sunshine colour. Good evening, Saba. Right, we'll do a proper yellow next, and then we will do a little bit of bead embroidery demonstration. But let me know, what do you think? Does this, you know, are you thinking I'm going to get myself to the works and give this a go? Now, it's a good idea as well with your paintbrushes. Don't leave your paintbrushes standing too long in water, because it doesn't do any good for your brushes, apparently. I mean, if all you've got is like a paint, you know, like literally a brush that you paint the walls with, you know, that's okay. Or, you know, if you don't want to invest in a whole pack, then just buy one colour. But all I would say is what you get from the works, you probably get that for one, maximum two from an art shop. There we go. Lemons. Let's make some lemons. I'm putting these in a different space every time so that I don't get the colours off the previous one, if that makes sense. Now, if you do want larger pieces of bead embroidery foundation, you can order A4 from me. That's not a problem. The other thing you could do as well is you could always gradiate the colours. You know, if you've got a project and you've got some different colour blocks in there as well, you could always colour block it as well. Right, so there we go. We've done a yellow one, we've done a pink one. So if you want a paler pink like this one, then just a little bit of red, more white, more water, and you know, aren't those fab? Just such lovely colours. Oh, I've got a nice big blob of acrylic paint on there. Right, so you'd obviously dry that with your hairdryer. So before we go on to do the beading, I am just going to have a quick tidy up. Let's just have keep refreshing your comments, because they're not coming up like they would normally. Oh, use a craft heat gun. Oh, okay, good show. Hello, Samantha. Do not worry about being late. You like my palette? Well, it's certainly well used. I'm just going to wipe this down before it goes all thick and gunky in. There we go. And then I've got to make sure that that doesn't go on my clothes. Right, let's just go on the big screen at the moment while I tidy up. Let's have a little chat, shall we? Right, let's go and pop that in the bin. Wipe that off my hands. What have you all been up to? Have you been doing any projects other than what you've been sharing? Got some hygiene wipes. I'm just going to take that off my hands before I do any more. Or is there any projects you're thinking of doing that you could use this in? Let's put that away. The Works, it's one of my favourite places. I do love it. I love it for storage as well. I love the little pretty boxes. And the good thing with this, now I've just got like a plastic covering, which is like a plastic bag. I dare say it'd probably go in the recycling. Put that on the side. Right, can take the pinny off now. And here's some I prepared earlier. Right. Let's see what you're up to. Hello, Nikki. Yes, I've used acrylic on them all. Linda is crocheting a blanket for Olivia's buggy as her knees get cold. Oh, we can't have her knees getting cold. Samantha, The Works is amazing, isn't it? Absolutely fantastic. Now, I don't know how whether or not we're gonna have time, but this one's actually got little beads at the top, which I thought might be a nice way of demonstrating. Right. It's a bit difficult sometimes when you're doing different bits and pieces in one demo to have it all there ready, so please bear with. Get you, Carol. She's just fitted a cat flap. Very industrious. I wouldn't trust myself to do anything like that. I'd end up making the hole bigger, bigger and bigger, and then I'd need a brand new door, knowing me. So we won't have time to do all of it, but we'll have a good old bash, and we can also see how the backing makes any difference, you know, to your piece as well. So I am just going to bring my overhead down a little bit. There we go. And you can see that okay. Now, Nikki is saying that Bruchot is good for colouring fabric too. I know we've spoken about that before, but it is something I have never used before. Right, these are AB blue size 10 seed beads. So I'm going to just start at the one side of the teardrop. And I'm going to add 4 beads. And just take a nosedive down after the 4th bead. Now, Sue'd like to do a peyote bracelet and ring. Have I got delicas at the moment? I have some, but I could possibly order some in for you if you let me know what you're looking for. So you push that needle through those 4. Hello, Betsy. So we're adding another 4 there. So Nikki is saying that you can use brusho in watercolour painting. And Nikki, if you've got any samples of the brusho that you've used, could you share them in our group, Beaders of Beads by Vachil? So I'm just doing a back stitch and going through those 4. Let me know if you need me to zoom in a little bit more. In fact, I think we'll do that. Let me just come off the overhead whilst I just reset this. There we go. There you go. That's much better, isn't it? Let's see what I'm doing now. So this is a little bit of a recap. So we're just back stitching. Sue is starting on a pair of bead embroidery earrings. We look forward to seeing that. Now I'm just working on a couple of things at the moment. One is a bead embroidery collar so that I can actually put it in kit form, and with a lovely centerpiece on there of multiple cabochons in the center. And I'm just going to be putting together as well the needle case, the heart needle case. So I've got all the materials, but I just need to actually sit down and photograph the pattern. So that will be out soon. But don't forget, I'm on Create and Craft on Saturday at 9 o'clock. Now at long last I'm back on the main channel. It's not Create and Craft Extra, it's the main channel, which does mean if you miss it, you can watch on playback for up to 60 days after, providing there's no sort of technical problems there. So I'm going to be on with Charlie, and I've got lots of new things, and I'm a wee bit nervous actually. Oh, I don't know what happened there. That disappeared. I'm a wee bit nervous because it's been a long time since I've been on the main channel, and it sounds ridiculous, doesn't it, really? But I know that more eyeballs will be on it, so I've just got to get myself in the right mindset, really. And my mindset for getting through it is that there's no one watching. So in my mind I'm like, there's just me and the team in this room, and we're having a nice little chat, and that's the best way for me to get my head around it. So I shall be travelling up in the morning. It can take up to 3 hours, 2.5 on a good run, but I like to go super early, so I go on a Friday, and then I come back straight after the show. It's just I find it quite a lot of driving in one day, and I quite like going around the shops. I like going around the shops and having a nice little Costa. So Samantha is saying she has tonic shimmer powders and a couple of Pretty Gets Gritty powders. They are good too. Oh, I'm loving this. So again, Samantha, if you've done any like backing with them, would you share them in our beaders group? And congratulations to all the winners for this month as well. I know Sue's in the group. Samantha, you may not know, but you've been chosen as one of the winners for one of your mates this month. So has Betsy as well. So So yeah, be sure to go and hop on over and have a look afterwards. Not now. Don't leave me standing. Oh, thank you. A couple of you are saying that you'll be there. I'm just wondering, there's a company, oh gosh, what are they called? It'll come to me later. I can't, I was going to say tiddlywinks then, but they're called pearlywinks. And yeah, not tiddlywinks, pearlywinks. And I wonder whether or not some of their sort of shimmer stuff would go. And I suppose you could probably mix it with acrylic, white acrylic paint or coloured acrylic paint. Liking it. And also, just thinking out loud here is, you know, does having something like the shimmer powder, would that allow you in a piece to have some blank space where you've just got the shimmer and the colour? Because let's face it, who makes the rules? There's no rules. So that might be something that you could do. So just food for thought. Charlie will help you forget your nerves. Oh, Charlie's lovely. I did a show on Create and Craft Extra with him quite a while ago actually, and yeah, he's lovely. I mean, you can't go wrong with any of them. So we're just going to reinforce and go all the way back round. One of my I shouldn't say favourite because they're all my favourites, but Catherine, one of the presenters, always when I see her, she's so grounded. Always have a good old chat with her if you know, if there's opportunity. Now she's actually, I think she's either left or leaving. She's just coming back to do her shows with Zori, the company that she that she's kind of front lines, and she is opening up her new, well, she's taking over a shop. I believe she'll be doing workshops where she upcycles furniture. Very, very talented. So Samantha said she hasn't tried that yet with the powders, but we'll give it a go. It was a lovely surprise. You're very welcome. We very much liked all of your pieces. Right, so let's do another round of these. Let's do a bit of peyote. It doesn't hurt to do a bit of a recap, does it? So we're going to skip over one and go through the next. Yeah, Catherine is really lovely. And I think it's great experience to work with as many different people as you can, because everybody has their own style, their own skills, and you learn something from everyone. And sometimes you go through periods where you have the same presenter one after the other, and that's nice too. Adam always cracks me up. I always, when I first met Adam behind the scenes, I expected him to be like really hyper because he's got so much energy. I thought he'd be like bouncy, and it's not that he isn't, but he's quite a lot more reserved. And I'm not saying he's not himself on camera, he very much is, but he does have his like down moments as well. But I remember the first chat I had with him was really, this is your show, anything we can do to help. And that makes such a lot of difference to how you feel. And laughter is such a good tonic that he will always have you laughing. And sometimes he a few little innuendos, and of course you know what I'm like for those. All is lost. my son says, Mum, can you make sure you don't laugh when you're on Create and Craft, because you have got a witch's laugh. Cheeky little thing. I am what I am. And he went, well, it's very loud, Mum, and I think you should be serious when you're on Create and Craft. It wasn't serious. I think he thought it was going to embarrass him, but he never watches it anyway. Sue's used the shimmer powders on card. Gosh, there's so many different things you can use, isn't there? I did enjoy dipping my toes with doing the cards when I launched my stamps. Sons are like that, I know. It's like, Mum, don't embarrass me. Well, if I don't, I'm not doing my job properly, am I? Because isn't that what mums are for? Seriously, Mum, I get. Seriously. Oh, Carol's been glass painting a vase. Fab. No, hopefully no more breaking moments. So I remember seeing your gorgeous work that you'd done, Carol. Do you know, you wouldn't trust me with glass. Me and my mum are an absolute nightmare. You don't ever buy it, you know, we wouldn't ever want anybody to buy us any expensive glass because it wouldn't be there in a year's time. Right, okie dokers, I think we're doing all right here. So on the last one, I forgot to mention, and I didn't even count them, that you need to make sure they're an even number. So that's your peyote. We're just going to do another row now. Now I'm hoping, actually let's just have a quick look. Right, let's have a quick look, because I'm not sure whether or not 15 is going to pull it in, but let's give it a go. Oh, Nikki's saying it makes you worse. What does it make you worse when your son's saying that you're embarrassing? It's just such a temptation, isn't it? The reason why I'm putting this silver back is because I think they're Mayuki brand, and there's nothing wrong with that, but they don't go on my size 10 beading needle, whereas the Toho do. So I've got silver line size 15s, and we're going through all the little ones, the little teeth that stick out, and pull as you go. But question for you, have you enjoyed having, you know, these different bead embroidery tutorials? Have you found it useful? I think there's always new things to explore, and also looking at using, you know, like different accent beads in there as well. The Precosa do some absolutely gorgeous different shape beads that you can incorporate into your pieces. Now, if you wanted to see this in more detail, that is more in my YouTube channel that you can see a bit more broken down. Rachel, do you break or drop a glass of Bacardi? Francis, I never drop my glass of Bacardi. Especially, yeah, when my Bacardi's in it. Funny that, I don't drop that one. That's like a magnet, that stays in my possession. you watch, you know, tonight I'll probably find that when I have my glass of Bacardi that I'll drop it. Oh, Nikki is, I do as much as I can to embarrass him, getting my own back for what he did as a child. My older boy was a right little tink when he was younger. He was adorable, but he was a little poop as well. Oh, I'm so pleased. Samantha said she really enjoyed the tutorials and want to try more of this. And if you find that's really lovely to hear, that kind of makes it all worthwhile. If you find that you haven't got amazing vision, then you can always use bigger seed beads if you want to. It's only when you're doing like peyote like this that it becomes a bit more of a problem, in the sense, you know, of needing smaller beads. But if you're just going around the cabochon, you could use size 8s if you want to. You know, don't let that stand in your way. How are we doing for time? Oh, we're still good for time. Last 2. And if you've still got tension that needs to be pulled in, then just go all the way back round, going through those beads. I do love, this is called peyote, magnifying glass on a stand. Yeah, you can even get the magnifying attachments to your glasses as well, but I have to say I've got one of those and I can't see through them. It makes me feel all disorientated. Now I've got some different beads with me that I thought, you know what, let's have a little look and see if there's anything different we can do with this little bit of bead embroidery. If we don't finish it, is perhaps it will give you something to think about. So we're going to take a nosedive down to the back. We're going to tie this off because it's getting quite short now. So if that's where I distorted my previous colour with this one when I was doing the acrylic. Nice bit of red, so obviously we'll put that on the back. Right, so just tie a couple of knots, go underneath the foundation. But if you've got any top tips that you found, now one of the other things that I actually forgot to do this time round, which was a very good tip from someone in the group, is to round off the edges. It just stops your thread from getting stuck around the edges. Right, let's pop this away. Now I don't know if this is going to work, but nonetheless, let's just show you something to think about. So you've got a couple of options that you could do with this. Is you could always have, where have you gone? You could always have some little beads that you stitch at the bottom. Now these, I'm not actually, what are they? They are pucker, they're called. They're check beads. And I just thought, wouldn't that be so sweet? Is actually add a cluster of these somewhere. Not sure whether at the top or at the bottom. Do you know what? I think it'd sit better at the bottom. that'd be cute, wouldn't it? Something like that. I don't know if you could have 3 at the top, but it's just something to think about, to incorporate another dimension into your bead embroidery, or a combination of, oh, that one's broken. Do you know what? I actually quite like that at the top and the bottom. Now, the difficulty you've got with this is stitching them in the right place. So what you could always do, I'm going to grab a little pen and actually just show you what's food for thought. A pen or a pencil. Because, and it might be an idea as well to like take a photograph above just to make sure that you've actually got them central as well. Now, so that's that one. Right, that was nowhere near. So at least you've got an indication. So let's go with that. Now, where has my thread gone? Yes, the pucker would be good for a peacock, and yes, they definitely make nice flowers. And I'm just thinking, if you coloured your foundation and you wanted to perhaps make even a bit of scenery from it, if that makes sense, you know, like a bit of a scene, but you want some empty space, it would be okay, wouldn't it, having some empty space if you've got a nice colour on your foundation. Right, so these have got little holes at the side. It might be something that you need to just take your time with. Just adding some new thread in. And once I've actually got that where I want it, then I will just reinforce that stitching. Oh, I'm so sorry. You can't even see what I'm doing. So I'm not going to reinforce it for the purposes of the tutorial today, but there you've got your starting point. And then I'm going to add another one at the side. It just looks to me a little bit sort of Indian influence. I don't know what sort of if they've got a particular style of jewellery, but I love all of their jewellery. You know, you could have it all in golds and bold colours, but that's what this sort of style reminds me of. And also, if you reinforce after, it does give you a little bit of room for manoeuvre, doesn't it? There we go. Whoops, not even going through it. There we go. Yes, it is quite 1920s. That, yes, the shapes of it are quite 1920s, aren't they? Right, we're going to push that one out just a little bit. And it, you know, you could actually have that at the top if you want to, and then what we could do is we could start stitching down here, but if you did want some more detail, I'd suggest really that you add that detail in beforehand. How are we doing? Right, let's try that, because it doesn't have to match what's at the top. Not sure about that. Just wondering whether or not. Let's have a look. What can we do slightly differently? Let's have a little play around with it. Which, you know, it's all a learning curve, and it's good to sort of show you sort of things that I will try. Oh, I like that. Yes, I like that. So let's just draw around that. Probably completely mess that up, but it's just given me an indication. I'll start with the one in the middle first. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to actually tie off, so I'm actually going to use my needle, and I'm going to thread underneath all of these bars. So think about making shapes and creating a picture with your, not literally like a picture, but create something that's slightly different in your piece. Create movement and shape by thinking about different beads that you could incorporate into it. And if you don't like it, it's fine, start again. So Sue's saying she's enjoyed the tutorials. I even use sequins. Ah, you've used sequins as well. Was that in your balloon piece? I thought that was gorgeous. You're liking this. I'm glad you like it. What I didn't like about doing 3 there was the 3 didn't quite sit in the same way, and it didn't really sit that well. I thought you had used sequins for that. Beautiful. I suppose you could even glue them on, but I just think it'd probably just be easier to actually stitch them on. Now I have got I've only got the blue suede, and I've got like a purpley one in stock, Nikki. I haven't a clue. I'd have to check on price. I ordered them really to do some projects with, and it's same old, isn't it? You probably can relate to this. It's like things that you've got to one side that you just don't get opportunity to do things as quickly as you'd hoped. So it's been quite nice for me actually. How are we doing? We've got 3 minutes left. So hope you've enjoyed it, and hope it's given you something different to think about. And any makes that you do, please post them in our beaders group, and don't forget, every month I will also pick a giveaway winner. So I don't do a giveaway every week anymore. I do it once a month, and I choose someone that has developed or been inspired by one of my tutorials. Hence this month's winner is Sue. So that's one side. Oh, I'm feeling under pressure now. I don't reckon I'm going to get that done before you all go. Oh, I'm so pleased you enjoyed. And what I will do is I will carry on with this, maybe not tonight, but I will carry on with it when I have opportunity, and I will post it online. Now the question is, one left, will I do it in time for 7? Pressure's on. Oh, it's 7 o'clock. But anyway, that would be what it looks like when that's done. And then I'll probably bring some seed beads round here and make it sort of an oval shape. So hope you enjoyed. I've really enjoyed myself. Do you know, sometimes I just don't get a chance to sit down and just have a play. So thank you for being with me while I do that, and hope it's been useful for you all as well. So take care, everyone. Thank you very much, everybody, and I will see you all on Saturday. Take care. Bye.